The No Kings protest.
Yeah.
Okay, the media in the US that already hates Trump, millions of people, biggest protests ever. Well, okay, 70 million people didn't vote for him. So
Right.
this doesn't surprise me that the MSNBC lefty world
Right.
is loving the chance to say, not my king, not my president.
Well, it's absurd on a million different levels. I mean, first off, yes, it's having a lot of people out there doesn't mean that Trump has lost the country. I literally, and I mean that literally, don't know one person that voted for Trump that is off the Trump train. I do know some people, and some of them are quite influential. A guy like Stephen A. Smith, huge influential guy in America, did not vote for Trump and basically is a Trump supporter now. Bill Maher certainly did not vote for Trump. Right. Very happy with a lot of things that Trump is doing. So the idea that, okay, you have some people out there, you've got your genderqueer furries with some of the Hamas people and a few other MSNBC reporters out there. And I mean, yes, I guess you're all out there for an afternoon and that's very exciting, but I don't think that's indicative of something changing on the ground. But the media, of course, wants you to think Trump's lost control, and it's complete and utter nonsense.
Well, what I love is there is no better metaphor for how off the train parts of the media are than this clip from MSNBC, where a reporter is actually going up to unicorns and asking.
I left America, so I didn't have to watch this stuff.
Sorry.
And here I am.
I'm sorry. All right, roll the tape. Here we go.
So scared and upset, and I don't understand why people voted for this person.
No, I'm not a radical. I'm just here to promote democracy and no kings.
We're here peacefully protesting, looking as ridiculous as we can, just so maybe we appeal to the president, because he is a ridiculous leader that is normalizing abuse of power.
USA. What about the reporter shoving?
Yeah. Can I get this thing up in your inflatable nose a little bit more so you can explain your problems to me? It's complete. All of it is insane. But you know what, Paul? Did you note that the stormtroopers didn't descend upon the rallies? Where was Darth Vader and everybody else? If Trump is so evil, if the evil empire is here, Palpatine didn't come down shooting lightning out of his fingers and stop everybody. No, they had their little episode, they had their little adventure, and they're all going to go home and be miserable. And that's just the way it works in a democracy.
That's what I love also. Like any administration, if you can tell me the three things you don't like, policy related, then we can have the chat, right?
Sure.
That poor lady.
Yeah.
Who's so whipped up, right? And okay, obviously giggling at her, but the anxiety is because she's drinking in a type of media that is absolutely priming her to be afraid of every decision every day.
Well, that tells you what the divide in the world is. You're literally crying with tears of laughter. Here, take a tissue. Look good.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
But that shows you, there's two different things happening. There's one thing actually happening, but two ways to look at it. So we look at it all and think, my God, this is crazy. This is so imaginary. You think people are coming for you. No one's coming for you. He's actually lowering taxes and trying to make you more free. And you think that's oppression. That's what we see, but they see this horrifically awful thing, and it shows you that the mainstream media still does have power over people's minds. If you tune into CNN or MSNBC every day, you are told Hitler is in charge, the Nazis are back, and you might end up at a rally crying, and that how we arbitrage those two things, nobody seems to have a good answer, because it's like there's one movie playing, but we're all walking out of it seeing completely different things.
Exactly. And then also, one term that you taught me was this concept of the machine, right?
Yeah.
Just it's a whole bunch of stuff. We all know what that means, right? Just pumping along, solar powered now, but it used to be steam,
right?
And it's relentless in its pace, right? Do you get a sense that the machine is still pumping on? Has it been slowed down? Did they take a piston out of it? Let's torture the metaphor as much as I can.
When I say the machine, what I'm talking about largely is just there is something that is moving along, right? We're all sort of in a script, and it's moving along, and it finds ways to add new characters, remove characters. Some people call it the simulation. You can call it whatever you want, and you can whittle down whether I mean it in the most literal sense or a more metaphorical sense. I think at times it gets slowed down. So Trump coming in the first time, the machine was like, WTF, like this wasn't supposed to get in here. Now, because so much has changed culturally, because Trump is so much better, because Americans have woken up, because we have an alt media, all of these things, the machine is not as effective. But we should note it still is effective in some way because that's what leads a lady like that to crying. That's what leads a guy like Barack Obama the day before the election to do the very fine people hoax, thinking he could get away with it because he still believes in the machine. But enough of us have woken up, and how we communicate, how we are able to do what we're doing right now while we still have a relatively free internet and all of those things. Although I know no one under 16 is going to be doing it over here, which is a different topic altogether. That's the challenge, is how do we keep fighting in an age where things will become more digital, thus more controlled?
So, again, when people are trying to compare Australia to America, when, we are a little more, certainly in terms of our election results, UK, Canada, right? Again, when people turn up to the show, daverubin.com/events.
He's good.
I'm here to move it for you, baby. Are they looking for how can we replicate what has happened? Because I get it, it's a different system. We don't invest in a single person.
Well, what I'm trying to do with each of the shows is I want all the shows to be different. So the show that I did in Brisbane will be different than the show I'm doing in Sydney. I just got to Sydney just a few hours ago, so I want to spend the next 2 days kind of learning about what's going on here. And I know it'll be a series of different issues. For example, in Melbourne, they had this massive machete problem. So we played the video of the local news reporter talking about the bin that the machete people are supposed to put in. That sounds like a great, because someone's on the way to murder somebody and they're, well, there is a machete bin. I guess I'll throw it in there.
Correct.
But we have versions of that in America, which is, basically we played a clip of the Seattle mayor who said, well, I know they're out there raping, murdering people, but I'm not really interested in putting people in jail. What I want to do is find out, did they grow up hungry? Were they molested? Like there's something really wrong with the leftist mindset. And it then comes out in different ways, whether it's via machete here or open door rotating prison policies, which we have in America, which I know you have here too. So every show will be completely different. And I want it to blend. Look, the people that are here, they're coming, they're watching my show, which is largely American focused. So they're paying attention to America, but I want them to feel like I'm paying attention to what's going on here too, which is exactly why I'm here.
But again, one of the ways that we're bonded over the years is mutual admiration of the comedian Bill Maher.
Yeah.
And again, sort of this, it's not particularly that it's about being a leftist. It's just like he's familiar to 20 years ago what the left meant.
Right.
And the left's gone way crazier. Conversely, some of the stuff that he's saying is pretty obvious, is defined as right.
Well, common sense has become right. I mean, it's as simple as that, really.
Well, perfect example, right? This is his show on Friday on HBO. Have a look at this, and I want to get your reaction to his thoughts about protesting on college campuses, free Palestine, and the reality that people might have to thank Trump for actually doing that.
Have you noticed that now that Hamas has taken over again, they're what?
Shooting everybody.
Shooting everybody. Where are the protesters? Suddenly, the keffiyeh wearing college kids are very
quiet. Can't be found. Yeah, can't be found anywhere.
This is okay. It's just amazing the asymmetry of what goes on.
Well,
right.
Well, look, Bill's been great, particularly on this Palestine stuff. He's been particularly good. This is a guy who relentlessly defends free speech. So you want to run around out there and scream about freeing Palestine, a state which never existed, designed in the minds of people only to destroy states which do exist. And I know I just left Melbourne as they were doing their weekly big rally, which everyone was like, you want to get out before that? Because you can't go shopping, you can't get anything to eat. Clearly, it's taken over the city, and they've been doing it now for 2 years. You'd think they'd be having a rally rejoicing that their perceived genocide is over, but we know it's not really about that. But Trump does deserve a lot of credit. He deserves all the credit because he did the thing that everyone said couldn't be done. He changed the culture. Politics is downstream from culture. That's the great Andrew Breitbart line. And Trump changed the culture. So you know what? You want to go out there and rally against Trump and do all these things, the no kings and all that, that's just fine. And you know what Donald Trump's going to do? He's going to jump on Truth Social and put a meme up of him flying in a jet. Did you see this one this afternoon? They claimed it was dropping dirt on people. It looked like poop to me, but either way, like, and that actually is kind of healthy in its own weird way.
Well, I don't think that his trolling has ever been better than when he's doing the sombrero on people, and even the Daily Show. Right?
Well, they tell you that the sombrero, so they said the sombrero thing was racist. It's like, you know what? Have you ever been to a Mexican joint? On your birthday, they will put a sombrero on your hat and sing to you. So are they racist or are you racist?
Correct. The phenomena of people's reaction to Charlie Kirk, right, is, and I remember saying that I think his murder will have the cultural significance for millions of people that many of the assassinations of the 60s will have, right? And some people just, how dare you, you're comparing him to Martin Luther King. No, I'm not. I'm saying millions of people got the message, liked the packaging of the message, right? And he opened many a mind, right? Yeah. I also think that the fact that his legacy will grow is a big part of, in part because Trump's in power, right? Mm-hmm. They have the ability to name a day after him, to build a monument, to keep, Medal of Freedom consciousness, right? Keep thinking about if it was the Democrats, it'd be a 2-day story of a guy off the internet, right? Yeah. But a few weeks on, how are you about the Charlie of it all?
Look, as you know, Charlie was a good friend of mine. We did these college events together, dozens and dozens of them years ago, before we all called it woke, and it was just sort of bubbling up of the craziness on college campuses. And we were going there, and they were pulling fire alarms and calling in death threats and all of the stuff. But Charlie relentlessly wanted to affect young people. He wanted them to be exposed to new ideas. He saw the indoctrination centers. He's deeply missed. I mean that as a human being. But the hole that he has left, everyone says you should talk to people from the other side. Everyone says it, and almost nobody does it. And even me, who really made my bones as someone that did that when I was on the left and I started to talk to these scary people on the right, like Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro and Dennis Prager and Charlie Kirk. Yeah. It's very hard for me to do now because there's almost nobody on the left that will talk back, right? So I can talk to Bill Maher. But, really in terms of who's left on the liberal side of things that's willing to talk, there's almost nobody. Charlie was doing it better than anybody. And I don't know that gaping hole can be filled. I think it's incumbent on all of us to do it the best we can. But I think what we're going to see, unfortunately, is that the sides will keep going further and further. But the legacy of Charlie, which was not only just to reach out to people, the two other things were be proud of your country and know your history, understand what the United States of America really is. And then parallel to that, he had his personal belief and his personal faith that he was proud to talk about. And he didn't demand that anyone live by his faith, but he was proud to share that. And he did something that I think we will all look back. I think people are seeing it now. They're looking at his old clips going, man, I wish I paid more attention to this guy, as famous and influential as he was.
Yeah, I've got that feeling that the first round of clips was, again, the content that he creates. The second round might well all be black and white.
Yeah. And
the greater focus there. And then, again, the third round where to quote him will be a way of showing not just that you got how good he was at communicating, but you see him as someone a little above the average kind of rant of the day.
He really was. Look, I fight with these ding-dongs on Twitter sometimes, and the language can get messy and all of those things. And he really didn't do that. He in some sense, at a political level, he was the best of us. And again, it's our job, I think, all of us, you here, me over there, to go in and fill that up. Because at some point, if you just keep going your separate ways, that's where the really bad stuff happens.
Well, and again, we've talked about it how many times, but it's part of the way to connect back is left and right listen to music, left and right watch TV shows. So the capacity to...
They can't create music anymore, and they can't create TV shows anymore, and they can't create comedy anymore, and they can't create art anymore. But yes, I suppose. But isn't that so sad? I mean, think about that. In the old days, the 60s, 70s, 80s, it was the lefties that were the creators, right? They were the musicians. They were the comics and all of those things. There's nothing edgy out of a lefty comic now. It's hysterical and kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
You want to be edgy these days, you would lean more towards a conservative view of the world. That in and of itself is such a bizarro flip. But again, that again shows you that unbelievable force of nature that is Trump.
He's a big brain, a big heart, and a lovely man. Dave Rubin, you can go and see him Sydney and in Queensland as well. Again, one more time, daverubin.com/events.
I'm putting you on payroll after this.
Anytime. Thank you, man. Thank you, and enjoy your time here. It's a great country.
Thank you.